Howdy, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name, your congenial, convivial, and amiable, as always, host. You are aboard the USS Focal Point, our patrol boat in which we patrol the choppy waters of America's public life, looking for the coordinates where truth intersects with politics. Don't forget, we've got our Share-a-thon coming up April 16 through 18. We'd love to get your listener stories. We may be able to use them during the 3 days of Share-a-thon, April 16 to 18. Love to have you come to Tupelo and serve as a volunteer, by the way, and answer the phones. It's a terrific opportunity for those of us who are part of AFR and operate right out of our headquarters here to be able to mingle with you, to meet you, to get to know you, to have a face to go with a name and all that. So we'd love to have you here in Tupelo, where we can actually have a chance to greet you and thank you in person for what you are doing, both by listening and then helping us by taking phone calls from donors. Anyway, if you would like to record a story of how AFR Talk has been used by God in your life, how it's motivated you to take a stand, how it's helped you grow as a Christian, or you just want to share what encourages you the most about being a listener to either the Focal Point or to AFR Talk in general, call 800-326-4543, 800-326-4543. Hit option 8, and you'll have an opportunity to record your message, and we may have an opportunity to use that during our Share-a-thon. Again, that's 800-326-4543, option 8. Well, let's grab a phone call, 888-589-8840. Let's go to Thomas, Shelbyville, Tennessee. Thomas, you're on Focal Point. What's on your mind?
How you doing, Brian?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I want to let you know I love your show. I listen to it all the time, and I hope God blesses more to be able to speak up like you do on the show.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And you was talking about, you hit my point right on stride a while ago before you went to break and everything, talking about the divorce rate and stuff in the world.
Yeah.
In the United States and everything. And I think a lot of that divorce rate and everything is encouraged by the government because they are offering so much incentives to the woman when they do divorce, telling them that it's all right, we'll support you. Don't worry about it and everything. And that's where it comes to, you was talking about all the welfare and people on. That's not the answer. Mm-hmm. If the government would stop all this welfare and stuff, I think families would stay together.
Yes.
I think, when you go out here, the incentive programs are so great for the women. I'm not racist towards a woman or nothing because I am married, I have kids at home and stuff, but they have created so much incentive programs for the divorced woman and stuff that, it encourages them to get divorced. It's all right to go out here and cheat on your husband and everything because you will be taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And everything. And it's they made it so bad on the man and everything. They're locking the man up every day for child support. Now, do not get me wrong. I do believe in supporting your kids and stuff and everything. And I think one of the biggest problems we have too is, the United States has got the biggest population of people in jail than any country in the world.
That's true.
And what they're doing is they're locking people up over this little stuff, and giving everybody these incentive programs and stuff to do this and everything. And here in my local town, they have been on the sheriff's department and everything here about the overcrowding in their jails and everything. And what they're doing is they put an article out in our local newspaper not long ago about wanting to build a new jail and everything. And they're encouraging them to build a new jail. The commissioners and everything got up here, and the jail staff and everything got in the newspaper and said, it's profitable for us. Let's build a jail.
Mm-hmm.
We can make money off this. Now, just as well as I do, Brian, the prison systems and the local jails and everything wasn't designed for a county to make money off of. It's to lock up criminals.
Right, that's exactly right. Keep them off the streets so the rest of us can be safe. Well, listen, I appreciate the call, Thomas. There's a complex of issues that feed into all of the social pathologies that we're dealing with, and certainly welfare and no-fault divorce are two of the things that have done more to contribute to the weakening of the family structure than probably any other two things in the landscape. And Thomas is exactly right. Government right now actually offers incentives to women to have children without fathers because they get aid, they get welfare benefits, they get handouts that are based on the fact that they're a single mom. If they marry the father, those benefits go away. So the government, in effect, is telling the woman, look, don't get married. That will hurt your wallet. It'll hurt your pocketbook. Don't marry the father. And we, the government, we will be your husband. We will be your child's daddy. We will give you the money that you need. And so it creates this powerful disincentive for women to get married and get connected to the father of their children. And it sends a signal to young men that they're not needed. Government says your babies don't need you. The mother of your children doesn't need you. We're going to take care of them. We'll provide for them. You're unnecessary. You're like a fifth wheel here. And so the husband gets the message. He can go out. He can cat around. He can lay around. He can drink beer and smoke cigarettes all day, and it's not going to cost him anything because he can qualify for unemployment benefits. The government's out there taking care of his children. Government's out there taking care of the mother of his children. He doesn't have any responsibilities. And so it creates this sense of indolence in males who ought to be sensing very keenly the responsibility to provide for the wives to whom they're committed and to provide for the children that the two of them are bringing into the world. Now, if welfare handouts are being dangled in front of him and in front of the woman that he's connected to, what's the incentive for him to go out and work hard to provide? He doesn't have to because he's being told, look, we've got a safety net here. They'll be taken care of. Don't worry about it. Don't knock yourself out. They are covered. Right at a time when a guy ought to be feeling, look, if I don't take care of these people, they're not going to get taken care of. If I do not go out and work, my wife and my children are not going to eat. And his hunger, as the proverb said, drives him on. That is a good pressure for a man to have, and it's horribly misguided. It does a tremendous disservice to the soul of the man, to the soul of the woman in his life, the mother of his children, when he is told that his contributions are not necessary. They are not critical. Everybody can get along fine without his hard work, and that's what welfare programs make possible. Before you had these welfare programs, and a guy knew if I didn't provide for my family, they don't eat, and I'm here to tell you that is a good pressure to have on a guy. Let's go to John in Delphi, Indiana. John, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Hi, Brian. Thanks for taking the call.
Yes.
I want to tell you how much I appreciate your program, and you've stimulated my thoughts many times over. I'd like to say about your statement earlier in the program about the way God, the history, the way He has worked with Israel should be an idea of His concept, the way He deals with nations today in this day and age. And I agree with that. And at the same time, excuse me, there are lessons to be learned and revisited, and as well as truth as to how He did deal with the nation of Israel. In part of that has to do with the prophetic books in the Old Testament and how they're being used by modern-day Israel to rather put a kind of a guilt trip upon the American churches.
Now, how do you see that happening? Explain that to me.
Okay. Well, the way I see prophecy and Isaiah and God's gift to the Hebrew people, the land of Canaan, and how that was inherently their land.
Right.
And that's a belief that in my mind and in my understanding of scriptures in the 9th chapter of Daniel, verses 23 through 27, and also when Christ said or made mention to 49 times in as 70 times 7 reference to the 490-year prophecy in Daniel chapter 9.
Uh-huh.
And also,
and I'm not sure is where you're going with that. That's what I'm trying to get to. What's the point that you want to make with that?
Okay. The point is that the way God dealt with us, with the Israel in Daniel chapter 9, is that prophecy was fulfilled in one teaching at the stoning death of Stephen.
Mm-hmm.
That ended that prophecy, fulfilled that prophecy. The 490-year prophecy was more or less the probation for the nation of Israel.
Yeah.
They did not accept the gospel of Jesus Christ being the Son of God, and therefore the gospel was turned over to those and very, very many other teachings about people that have been clothed in their own righteousness and so forth and so on.
All right, John. Well, listen, I got to let you go because we're coming up against the end of this segment, but I appreciate your call. You know, and we've talked about the 490-year prophecy of Daniel here, and the way I understand that, you go back and look at adding up the years and what they represent and start from the day that the decree was given to rebuild the city of Jerusalem, and you pencil that out, and it comes out to the very day, though that period of weeks, the 69 weeks, the 69th of the 70th week, actually culminates with the triumphal entry of Christ into the city of Jerusalem. And then Daniel says after that triumphal entry of the prince into the city of Jerusalem, then it says the Messiah or the prince will be cut off and have nothing. And that clearly seems to be a reference to the crucifixion of Christ. So some pretty powerful prophetic words in the book of Daniel. And, you go back in Old Testament prophecy, and, Barack Obama's over in Israel right now. It's very, very clear that God gave the land of Israel, the current land of Israel, to the descendants of Abraham, to the Jewish people, as their possession forever. They've lived on that land for 3,500 years. If anybody's got a right to that claim by history, by divine title, it is the Jewish people. Focal Point AFR Talk, back in 2.
Have you ever